Hey man, welcome to the Super Divorce channel. If you think you're gonna like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up now. And if you're digging it here, go ahead and subscribe. Just make sure you bong the gong for notifications so you know when new videos go live. Now then, please look forward to this video. Enjoy, chefs. Hey man, welcome back to the Super Divorce channel. Nicholas Villars here, aka Super Divorce. I play music. I'm creating a Proudly Comicsgate comic book. And today we're going to talk about part 3 of this 4-part LOBO'S back. Right here. Here's the actual physical copy that I read. LOBO'S back. This series from 1992. DC Comics. Given to us by Keith Giffen, Alan Grant, and Simon Bisley. So, Lobo's had some issues in the past 2 issues. If you didn't get a chance to check those out, go back and watch those videos, parts 1 and 2. Or if you don't want to, if you want a super briefer, I'll give it to you right now. Get ready for it. I'm about to slip it in. Lobo was fragged by a guy he was hunting down named Lou on a place called Dooley 7. And when he died, he went to heaven. He didn't want to be there, so they sent him to hell. Hell didn't want him, so they sent him back to heaven. He kept causing trouble. They finally gave in to his demands to be reincarnated, and at the end of issue 2, he is sent back in time to 1940 because he didn't specify when he wanted to go back to. He just wanted to go back to Earth. So they sent him back to 1940, and they also sent him as a female version of Lobo. And if you were to read the letters section in the back of issue 2, they referred to this character. When Lobo's in female form, they called Lobo Bimbo. I guess that was the official title. In-house, if you will. So, Bimbo starts off this issue in 1940. It's in England at this pub as the Nazis are bombing. They're dropping bombs nearby. Bimbo doesn't want to stick around in this body, you know, similar to Chucky. Got to get out of this body is kind of what Lobo's thinking. So Lobo's plan is to get hammered at this pub and then to walk out into the tattered war zone and just get blown to shit. So he'll die again and go back to heaven and hopefully arrange a better deal next time around. On Lobo's way to the danger zone, sees this little girl. This gives you an insight into the character that Lobo is. And this wouldn't probably happen today, because I feel like every character like Lobo now has been revealed to have like a heart of gold, you know. So let's say Wolverine's walking by here. And maybe it's not exactly the greatest comparison, because I feel like Wolverine is generally a decent fellow when it comes to like innocence and so on and so forth. But the sort of renegade characters have all sort of been shaved down. Even your rough around the edges type characters now, they constantly have to show their softer side. Maybe that happens with Lobo at some point, but they're not doing it constantly. And it shows you right here in this scenario, he's walking by this little girl who's asking for help because her mom is pinned under the heavy debris. Now, first of all, Lobo makes fun of her speech impediment because she says debris instead of debris. So Lobo makes fun of her for that. And then look, you see the arm sticking out. Her mother's dead arm is like sticking out of the rubble. And, then Lobo wants money. It's like, yeah, I'll look for your mom if you give me some coin. It only gives her like a few, you can see. What would these be? What do they call that? Pence? Is that what they refer to their I mean, they're not full pounds. I don't know how their shit works back in that day. You know, whatever. Fractions of a euro now. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, he's like, saw all I could find, toots. And you see he's just tossed her mother's decapitated head in front of her. And she's like, wah! And then he makes fun of her speech impediment again. He's like, sorry. Sorry. You know? Showing that he's not really a good guy. It's not like he gets in a situation like this and reveals his heart of gold. He's just a bastard. He's a prick, and he's a mercenary. He's a man for hire. And now he's got a vendetta. He's trying to get back to heaven so he can get out of this female form. So he goes up on top of a building. You see the planes flying overhead. And he's like, come on, blow me away. Let's do this. Come and get me, dweebs. Then, before he can sacrifice himself, or just commit suicide rather, and he's not really sacrificing anything, this guy, General Glory, steps in. Kind of like, I'd never seen this character before. I don't know General Glory. But he comes in with his little buddy. I guess this is kind of like Captain America and Bucky. So they step in, and, you know, they're not going to allow this woman, because they think it's just a lady, a distressed lady. You know, this is, what we're seeing here is, you know, the insidious evils of this insane, insufferable, interminable war. This lady needs help. And then Mr. Glory, he prepares to pounce, and he tackles Bimbo. Bimbo's foot gets caught on some sort of cord here. And then Sproing launches female Lobo up into the air amidst all of the bombs exploding overhead, and is thusly fragged again. Blown apart and sent back to heaven. Now look at this. These two angels are waiting there. Look at this guy. He's like, when I was a cherub, if you died a woman, you stayed a woman. Another sort of, we've seen some gender jokes in here. Stuff that would not be published today. So anyway, Lobo finds the guy who's who kind of set him up previously, who pulled the strings, who sent him back as a woman, and he's like, look, I want to go back, and I want you to send me as I was to the same time, right before I was wasted. I want you to send me back to that point. He wants a do-over. That's all he's asking for. And the administrator's kind of, he's like, well, what are you going to do if I don't? You know, I'm dead. What are you really going to do to me? I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to give in to your demands. And then Lobo proceeds to kick him in the dick so hard that his spine bursts through his back and up into the air. Cha-ching! You know, like he's opening a cash register. So I guess, you know, just because you're in heaven doesn't mean you can't get hurt. In the Lobo book here, it just means that, you know, well, they'll fix you up again. But it still sucks. You're not going to want to experience this over and over again. So they send Lobo to wait in line, basically, to appeal his possible reincarnation. To give them some reasons to why he wants to do it, when he wants to go back to, what kind of form he wants to take, and all this kind of stuff. And when he's waiting in line, he's really not liking the people that he's surrounded by. This guy, Cecil, right here, he's like, enough's enough, Cecil. This guy's been blabbing his ear off for a while. And he's like, I don't want to hear it. And he just reaches up and grabs his face and just pulls his face off. His eye just pops right out of the socket. He's got like skeleton face now. and you see that he's been waiting in line for 12 years. Finally gets up to the front. The people around him, there's the guy whose face he ripped off. There's Cecil. There's another fellow whose head he just tore off of his body. So people aren't having a good time. And the administrator is like, just do what he wants to have done and get him out of here. He is causing way too much trouble. So they take him to the reincarnation unit again. They put him in the machine. They say they got a green light. Here they go. Boff. He's gone. And he's sent back to Dooley 7, but as a squirrel. And he knows they did it to him again. They effed up. This time it actually was a mistake. And the administrator's not happy about it. He's like, he's going to come back here again. Why did you guys screw this up? You just needed to send him back to the same time and place right before he died. Same body. They screwed it up. So he's pissed off as little squirrel Lobo. And he's walking along. He walks right near where his past self and Lou, this guy over here, remember from issue 1, where they were having their fight. That big blowout at the end of issue 1. And as the squirrel Lobo, he accidentally walks right underneath Big Lobo's body, you know, and his torso's blown apart. Big heavy Lobo torso falls on top of a tiny little squirrel Lobo, crushing him to death. You can see. Squish. And dead once more. And how do we know he's dead? Because in the next couple panels, he's actually meeting up with death. From the Sandman series. I had commented in issue 1 that there were some pages that were very reminiscent of Sandman. Well, here you go. Here's an actual crossover. We've got Death from the Sandman series being hit on by Lobo. He's just been smacked by her. And he's like, all right, she doesn't want me right now, but one of these days, he says, me and you will really have to get it on. One of these days. But for now, he's going to make his way back to the pearly gates again. Only this time something strange is going on. He doesn't see any line. There's no line of people. They're expecting him this time. And they've got, look at all these missiles, rockets, turrets. They've got an entire arsenal pointed at him. They got razor wire around the heavenly gates. And he's standing on the clouds right here. And it's like, all right. Okay. They don't want him in. They're not going to be strong-armed again into granting him his wishes. And he's ready to have a fight. And that's where it ends. So that's the end of issue number 3. Lobo's back. Enjoyed that one as well. I've really enjoyed this series. Got one more. I'm kind of sad to almost be at the end of it. But, you know, we'll be back with that video soon. And before we move on, before we close this video out, I thought I'd just run through the advertisements that were featured in this book, because I think that's fun to take a look back at all the old ads that they were featuring back in 1992 in DC Comics. You had an ad for Ed Furlong's Pet Cemetery 2. I never saw that one. I saw the first one. It used to make me really sad when I was a kid. Slightly traumatizing. You know, that little kid, what's his name, Gage? And he gets run over by the semi-truck, and then you see his little shoe tumble down the road. I was like, oh my God. Like, that made me want to cry when I was a little kid. Because I liked scary movies, but that part, it was just really sad. Just very, very unsettling. That kid went on to be in Wes Craven's New Nightmare, I think, as well. Here's an ad for one of these, like, you sign up, you get music every month. I think my family did Columbia House. We would get CDs through Columbia House, and we also did VHS tapes for a while. This was something different. I hadn't heard of this. But it says 3 free tapes now, 3 free tapes every month. Pick any 9 cuts from the bands on this page, and we'll put them on 3 cassettes and send them to you free. Up the top it says, help save America from cheese-filled Biff music. It's free. Plus rebate coupons on cassettes and CDs worth $20 every month. So they used to offer these kinds of deals back in the 90s. And some of you out there might have done that. Did you guys ever do Columbia House? Did your family ever get involved with stuff like that? I remember thinking that was so cool. Here's an ad for Batman, Sword of Azrael, written by Dennis O'Neil, penciled by Joe Quesada, back before he was a full... he's completed a heel turn, I think. I don't think many people within the industry like Joe Quesada anymore. Seems to be the impression that I get. Here's an ad for Dark Stars. First, the Green Lantern Corps protected the universe alone. Then Legion joined the fight. Now there are the Dark Stars, written by Michael Jan Friedman, penciled by Larry Stroman and Travis Charest, inked by Scott Hanna. I've never read anything of the Dark Stars, so I don't know shit about the Dark Stars. I don't recall seeing anything featuring the Dark Stars in recent memory. But then again, I never really got into DC books until Blackest Night. I read Superman in the 90s when Superman was huge, when they were doing all the Death of Superman, and then you had Steel and all the other shit going on. That was about the only time I followed DC stuff when I was a kid. I always liked the X-Men and Marvel characters more. So I don't know what the hell was going on with the Dark Stars. I don't know what their story is. I know nothing about them. Maybe you can fill me in. Then we have Valor and Eclipso. Ads for those two. Here's a Rock the Vote ad. Secretly, they just wanted you to go and vote for Bill Clinton. I mean, that's probably all that is. They didn't... They always say that. Oh, we just want people to engage in the process. No, they don't. We want you to vote for Bill Clinton. They might as well have just said that. Batman Adventures, based on the animated series. An ad for Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing on Sega Genesis. I had this game. It was a pretty fun game. I mean, it's not as classic as as Punch-Out. Nothing is when it comes to boxing games, but this was pretty fun. This was a fun game on Genesis. I'd kind of like to get this again and play it. It had Create a Character too, which was pretty cool for the time. And on the very back, an ad for the Adrenalize Def Leppard tour. This is pretty fortuitous because I've been on a huge Def Leppard kick recently. And, you may not know this, this is actually kind of sad. They were not having a good time in this period. Their guitarist, Steve Clark, had just passed away, like right before this album. So, I've read some interviews with the guys, and they're like, we didn't all hit rock bottom at the same time, which is good, because if we all had, then we probably wouldn't have been a band anymore. But they had at least one guy or two guys throughout that period who were kind of holding it together, who were like, all right, we got to do this. We've got to keep going. We've got to record this album because it's what Steve would have wanted. And then maybe that person gets down the dumps a little bit, but then someone else has been inspired and they kind of lift everyone up around them. That's what it takes. That's teamwork. But that was a very dark period in the band, which you wouldn't know from listening to the album because it's very upbeat, very much in step with Hysteria and Pyromania. So it continues in that classic Def Leppard lineage. It's got that sound to it that just, arena, have a good time, let's party, rock and roll. But behind the scenes, very, very difficult time for the band. Great album, though. Sure, they were still, a great band to see on this tour. Also, something else, some more Def Leppard trivia. When they began the tour, as you see right here, they pretty much look like Def Leppard from the 80s. They look like the Def Leppard you know. By the end of it, they ended up touring, I think right up until 1994 on this tour. So it was basically like 2 years. When they started it, they were still in that like Hysteria phase. They sounded, were carrying on that same 80s tradition. But by the end of it, grunge had really taken hold, and they were coming out in, shorts and t-shirts and playing, and just kind of like said, fuck the old image. We're just, no one wants to see that. So they started dressing more of like the, a little bit more 90s. A lot of bands from the 80s did that in the 90s. Probably the most famous being Metallica, ditching the long hair and in their classic look, and clean cuts for all, as one magazine said. Yeah. So there you go. Little Def Leppard for you. And that's going to just about do it for today. So thanks for hanging out. Until next time, make sure that you are listening to your Super Divorce music on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever you like to stream your shit. If you're a fan of bands like Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, New Order, and so on and so forth, you're going to love the most recent Super Divorce album. It's called Action Figures. It's 10 songs, a full-length album. 10 songs, 10 original songs just for you. Listen to it. When you fall in love with it and you want to pick up a physical copy, go to superdivorceme.com and you can grab yourself a CD. You could grab yourself a cassette tape, a nice blue cassette tape with white writing, very appealing. I just like to hold these. I've got a stack of these over here, so I can grab one and ship them out. Sometimes I just like to grab a stack of these and just hold them. Just a pleasing product to hold in your hand is this cassette tape. Grab one of these, or you can get yourself a vinyl record, right there. Translucent blue, in fact. Gatefold, it opens up, all the lyrics on the inside, everything you want. I recommend what you do is you celebrate the entire catalog. Just get one of each item, and you've got the entire collection. It's simple. Just do that. It's fantastic. And I appreciate you. Also, if you've not done so, please sub to the channel. Bong the gong for notifications so you know when new videos go live. Leave me a comment below if you have anything. Doesn't even have to be related to the video. Whatever's up, just say hello. Talk some shit, whatever you want. Like this video. Share it with your friends. Say, hey, check out this Lobo book from 1992. Check out this asshole talking about it. Give it a shot and give the guy a sub. Yeah. Okay. Follow me on Twitter at @TheSuperDivorce, on Instagram at SuperDivorceBand. That's all I got. Take real good care. Keep kicking ass. Love you lots. Lord willing, I'll be back very soon with another video for you to watch. All right. Bye-bye.
Divorce. We're gonna go viral with this one.